So we have a rhythm. So every musical piece, every song should have a rhythm, a pause for song. Then melody, we can call melody individual sound, individual notes, probably on the piano, individual notes or individual sound. Then harmony, we can say it's a group of two or more melody lines or notes. So if we say melody is just one per time, so harmony should be a group of two or more. That's what harmony should be. So in this way, I'm playing harmony, melody. So I'm playing harmony, I'm playing melody. So harmony can be a combination of several sounds if it's in voice, combination of female part and the male part, probably a soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Alright, so another thing we talked about is we have a 12 key layout on our key. A 12 key layout on our keyboard. So we have the white keys. We said the white keys are natural keys, Abby. And we said the black keys are what? Are accidentals. So we have the white keys running through, as you can see right there, and the black keys, which are accidentals. Now about we also talked about the keyboard layout. We have the group of two black keys. Can you see? Two black keys, two black keys, two black keys, two black keys. And we have the group of three black keys, three black keys, three black keys, three black keys, and three black keys. So a group of two black keys and three black keys on the piano. So this helps us identify notes easily. It helps us identify our notes easily. And I said you have the key of C before. Alright, so we have C before every two black keys. Whenever you find two black keys on the piano, the group of two black keys, you have C. It's the white notes before every two black keys. So you have C1 here. Can you see? So going to the next octave, you have C2 for the next two black keys. Are you following? You have C3 before the next two black keys. Moving further, we have C4 for the next two black keys. Moving further, we have C5 for the next two black keys. Also, you have F before the group of three black keys. So let's do the same thing. So we have F. Notice a group of three black keys. We have F here. Okay. We have F here. Going further, we have F. We have F. Okay, can you try touching F on your piano there? The next one will be where? Here. Exactly. So we have F here on our piano. Alright, now also we said our notation, which is the piano notes, are represented by the first 7 letters of the alphabet. So that we have what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we have we use these 7 letters to represent our notations on the piano. So our major notes are represented with these 7 letters. So let's count from C. Let's count from C. You know we have C before every two black keys. Okay, so we have C here. This is C2. So C1. This is C2. Alright, so let's go. C, D. Okay, I'm just touching every white note. Okay, the next one, E, right? F. The next one, G. Remember we have just 7. Now A. Remember we have just 7, so we have just A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then we're going back to A. Okay, so B. Then we have C. Going further, D, E, F, G, and A, B, C. Right. So once you get to G, you go further to A. So you start this the cycle again. All right. We talked about octave. So octave is a group of 8 notes. A group of 8 notes. So let's count. So we have from C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is an octave. So let's count from here. C2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this is another octave. So going further, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is another octave. So basically, it's a note to itself. So if we have C2 to C3, this is an octave. Remember how we got our C1? Before C, before every 2 black keys, C1. Before the next 2 black keys, C2. The third one, C3. So if you count from C2 to C3, you have an octave. Alright. So another thing we said pitch. So I explained pitch very simple to you. So pitch is how high you can go or low you can go. So how high a note sounds or how low a note sounds. So this is what enables us to replicate the same idea over octaves. We are putting the same idea over octaves. Now I said it has piano has a 12 notes pattern. Let's count from C. So we're going to count every note, both the natural and the accidental. So we're counting 1, 2. So I'm touching the black key now. I'm counting every note. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So if you look closely at your piano, these 12 notes were replicated over. There was a repetition. These same 12 notes, they brought it down here. The same 12 notes. Look at the pattern. Same thing here. Same thing here. That's where octave comes in and pitch. So as we are putting from C1 to B1, remember, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So this is B. I'm holding B right now. You can see it on the screen. So that's B1. So from C1 to B1, this is C1, this is B1. You have the C1, this is B1. You have the 12 notes. So taking that same thing, taking it to C2, now C2 to B2. So it's becoming higher. So we're ascending, we're going higher in terms of pitch. So we're ascending in terms of pitch. So it's the same C, but we're going higher in terms of pitch as we're running across different octaves. Now, another thing I'm going to be talking about briefly is on key identification. How can we identify keys? How can we identify notes? Like I said, when I was younger, when I see some persons play, quite fine, and I ask them, okay, can you explain the logic behind what you're doing? And they're just like, okay, I played this, I played this, I played this. They can't put words together to explain. So it really bothered me. So I was able to come across key identification. So 3 ways you can identify notes. So first, by its position. So in terms of position, we're counting from 1 to 7. We're counting with numbers. Counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're counting in terms of numbers. So by its position. So let's try it on C. So I'm counting from C. So I'm going to be playing on C2, which is before every 2 black keys. Remember, C1 and C2. In terms of numbers, by position. So this is 1. Because I'm playing on the key of C. I'm starting from C. So 1, 2, count along. 3, okay, 4, okay, 5, 6, and 7. So by position, moving from 7, remember what we did when we were counting letters? From G, we went over to A. So from 7, we are going to 1 again. Because every note of C is 1 in this case, because we are playing on the key of C. Let's do it again. 1, 2, okay, 3, okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. So it continues 2, 3, back to 7. That's by position. Then number 2, by solfege or soprano. So in terms of soprano, that's from Do to T. That's Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti. So as soon as you get to T, you go over to Do. So counting that we are playing on the key of C. So we're starting from C. So Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, T. As soon as you get to T, we're going back to Do, which is the next note. So that's in terms of position. Remember what we started from? In terms of solfege, rather. Started from position, that's 1 to 7. Solfege or sulfur note, that Do over to T. Then now the last one, by notation. When we started, I said we represent our notations in music by the first 7 letters of the alphabet. So I believe we've touched this, so we're going over it again. Playing on, I'm starting from C2. We have C, okay, D, okay. The next one, E, right, F, G, A, B, C. Remember, from G, we're going back to A because we do not have H. Okay, A, B, C. So that's C to C. So now let's now apply this key identification principle. So if I touch this note, so identify this note. What note is this? By position, what note is this? Can you try? Okay, now let me show you. We said C is 1 because we are playing on the key of C. Alright, so let's count. And I touch this, right? So let's count from C. 1, in terms of position, 1, 2, and 3. So this is my third in terms of position. It is occupying 3, number 3. So now, in terms of solfege or sulfur note, that's Do to T. And let's count. We're starting from C, T before every 2 black keys. So we have Do, okay, Re, and Mi. So that's in terms of solfege or sulfur note. So now, in terms of notation, so let's count. Now, in terms of notation work, it's A to G. So that, all right. So in terms of notation, so let's count. So we're counting from A to G. So that's, but in this case, we're playing from C. Remember, C before every 2 black keys. So that's C, D, and E. Again, C, D, and E. Alright, so in this way, you can identify a key by playing position 1 to 7, solfege Do to T, and notation A to G. Remember, we said we use the first 7 letters of the alphabet to represent our notes. Let's try one more. And the thing is, you can hit any random note on the piano, any random key, and try to identify its position. Identify the key either by position, by solfege, or by this one. Let's do one more. So this. So now let's count. This is C1 with every 2 black keys. The next one, C2, exactly, C3. So by position we have what? 1 to 7. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's by position. By solfege or sulfur note, Do to T. That's Do, right? Re, Mi, and what? Fa. That's by sulfur note. Then lastly, by notation. So aside from C, so that's using the first 7 letters of the alphabet. So that's C, D, E, and F. I believe this way we've been able to identify our keys using position, sulfur note, and notation. All right. Also, we talked about intervals. I said intervals is the distance from one note to another note. So the distance from one note to another note. Now, it's quite broad, but under it we did just a whole step movement and a half step movement. A whole step movement and a half step movement. Remember I explained it this way to you. So we're playing on, okay, this is my C3. So on whole step movement, I'll be moving over a note. Yeah, it's like I want to move Okay, I have a piano right in front of me. Okay. And I want to move to the front, and I do not want to go um, um, by its side. I want to move over it. So I'll be jumping over the piano to the front. So that's the same way it works here. Whole step movement. So while I'm moving over this guy is here. This note is here. So I'm moving over him. So on down to again. I'm starting from where C3. So I'm moving over this place. So that's a whole step. If we do the same thing, we're moving over here to E. So that's an whole step movement. So that's a movement from one note to another note with a single note in between. Movement from here down here with a single note in between. And half step movement, in this case, there will be no note in between. So it's like me moving from this chair to the next chair. I have a chair right here, moving from this chair next chair, and I do not have any obstruction whatsoever. So it's easy for me to just move. Yeah, this way. That's for half step movement. So I'm moving from C down to the next note. I remember I explained because so far we've been playing on just the naturals, we've not really touched the accidentals. All right, that takes us to the next thing. We have sharps and flat. Sorry, we have sharps and flat. So moving to the right by and half step. Now we're moving to the right by and half step. So we're playing from C. Let me just call it C in this case. So by an half step, we're not skipping anything. Remember, half step or semitone. You can call your half step semitone. You can call your whole step tone. So by an half step, we are going to touch exactly. So this is what, as I have it on your screen there, right there. You have C sharp. There you can see C sharp 3 because this is C sharp sharp. There you can see C sharp 3 because this is C sharp 1, C sharp 2, and C sharp 3. So this is C sharp because we are moving to the right by a semitone. We're not moving over any key. Okay. Moving from here down here. We're not skipping any notes. That's C sharp. Now, moving to the left by an half step or a semitone, you have flat. So I'm moving to the left by an half step. So let's hit D. Somebody say C. So moving to the left by an half step. Let's try it. By an half step. So we have D. Right? Again, I mean D flat. D flat. Remember we have D before. I mean after C. Remember, so we have C, D. We're moving to the left by an half step. We have what? D flat. We're not skipping any notes. Not skipping any notes. So D flat. So but on D, if we want to move to the right by an half step, we have what? D sharp. Will you try it again? It is D. Moving to the right by an half step, we have what? D sharp. Moving to the left by an half step, we have D flat. We have flat. Yeah, for the left, you have sharp towards the right. Okay, this is okay. Oh, yeah, this is my right hand. On your screen, pointing towards the left. Right, this is my right hand. All right. Then we talked about major scale fingering. We did something on major scale fingering, and now the main idea behind the beginner piano course is to introduce our students into playing on all keys. And now we have 12. Remember, I said the piano has a 12 notes pattern. We have 12 keys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Into playing on both of keys. Not just one, not limiting our play to just one on the 12. At some point, we're working with small piano for sight reading classes. So we have a formula we use. Now, knowing this formula, you can apply it on whatever key on the piano, and you can play your major scale on that key. You can play any song or any music piece. And this is our formula. Whole note, half note, whole note, whole note, whole note, and half. Again, whole note, whole note, half note, whole note, whole note, whole note, and half note. So now let's apply to C. C. That was with on C. I'm playing from C2. So whole note. Remember whole note. We're going to jump over a note there or a key there. We're jumping over this guy. So jump with me. Whole note. That's the first one. Then the next one. Remember whole note. Then you have what? Half note. So now I'm using notes in two steps. So half step, step. Okay. So the next one, whole step. Okay. Again, whole step. Again, whole step. Then the last one, half step. Let's do it again. And from C. Okay. So whole step. We're jumping over this guy again. Let's go. Whole step. Then now half step. We're not jumping over any notes. Now whole step. Right. Whole step. Okay. Whole step. And what? Half step. So that we've been able to play a major scale on the key of C. Now we're going to be applying this knowledge across the 12 keys on the piano. Okay, let's now try on C sharp. Let's try on C sharp. So where's C sharp? C sharp is moving to the right from C by just once. And let's try it. C2. This is what? C sharp 2. So have it on your screen there, right there. So now let's apply it. So we have what? Whole notes. We're moving over this. Remember, every note counts here. Every note counts here. So we're moving over this. So we have what? Whole note. Now let's move again. Whole note now. Whole note. Right? You're doing great. So now half note. Remember, I'm using notes in place of step. So that's like half step. So using notes in terms of in place of step. Alright, so let's use step. So remember, we're starting from C sharp. So I'm skipping over this, we're moving over this. Whole step. So whole step, moving over this, then over to whole step, then now half step. I'm not moving over any note. So we have half step. Now we're moving over the next note. It's a whole step. So whole step. So keep moving with me. Whole step now. I'm moving over this. Going whole step. Now whole step again. We're moving over this. Whole step. Now half step. I'm moving over any down to half step. It's very easy. You can. Should we try it again? We're starting from C sharp. The whole step. We're moving over this note. Now whole step. And the next whole step. We're moving over this note. Now whole step. Then now half step. We're not moving over any note. So half step. Then now whole step, which is the next one. Moving over this. Have whole step. Then next whole step, we're moving over this. We have whole step. Then the last whole step, moving over this, we have whole step. Then half step. So that's sol, la, ti, do. Again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Alright. My position, that is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. By solfege or solfa notes, we have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Then by notation, we have what? C sharp. Okay, now this is C sharp. The next note, which is this. This is what? D sharp. Because this is D, we have D sharp. Okay, let's just leave it at position and solfa note. I will explain further in our class on Saturday by God's grace.